you get people now comparing MotoGP to Superbike, and you get the GP guys wanting to put out the fire, and then the Superbike guys are, sometimes you feel hard done by. But when there's a comparison, it's nice, because I feel like we are on that level. There's 3-4 teams in that paddock that could legit go to GP and challenge, because they've got great people and engineers. Likewise with riders, there's a lot of talented riders that wouldn't disgrace themselves in MotoGP. So it's whilst it's not two different sports, one's production based, one's prototype based, I feel they both have their place in sport, and I'm all too happy to fly the Superbike flag and really enjoy it there.
Well, Carmelo Espoleta's come out this week, the head of Dorna, and said that Kawasaki actually applied for a wild card to go into a MotoGP. In your opinion, how, like we looked at the lap times, they're not too far apart. Obviously you knew about this going to happen. How were you feeling about it, and how do you think the Kawasaki, because you've got something with the Kawasaki that no one else has got?
Well, I don't know. To be honest, it was news to me.
Okay.
I think it's also a media storm, and yeah, I mean, if Carmelo said it, there was obviously a conversation, and I don't know how it would go. You can't compare, because it's two different tyre brands as well.
Yeah.
To be competitive, we would need to be testing with MotoGP tyres for a bit to understand. But I feel like how handicapped we are at Kawasaki with the current regulation state. I feel like Kawi could really make me a proper bike, an engine, and we have the know-how to do a chassis. They can make a competitive bike.
Well, they've proven it in the past in MotoGP.
Yeah, I'm not saying to be inside, to be bothering the front guys, but I'm sure we wouldn't round out the back of the field.
Now, while we're on the subject of MotoGP, one of the travesties to me in the last 10 years is that you got a couple of wild cards to replace Casey Stone when he was injured. 2 top 10 finishes as a wild card, that's unheard of. And nothing else happened after that. And like I said, to me, it was, and probably a lot of people watching this show would feel the same way. How is it to you, like all those faithful years with Honda, and then to see that where you think, here we go, here's my chance, and you prove to them that you can mix it with the big boys, and nothing ever, and probably led to you going to Kawasaki in the long run?
Yeah, it was a sad time for me as well, because I was, not that I was a kid back then, because I was still like mid-20s, but I really felt that if I aligned myself with Honda, they had all the stepping stones to go to the top, and it was really unfortunate for Casey to get injured, and it was really a holiday ride for me, to be honest. It was scary because it was MotoGP, and I went there with my eyes wide open, taking everything in, and I got told straight away, don't crash this bike, just finish and bring it home. And it was a case of, then I really felt like a guy that was just filling in, and they were quite reluctant to make huge changes on the bike and do the way I wanted to go with things. And the 2 weekends were tough because it rained all weekend. These are races in summer, like Aragon and Misano, and it rained all weekend. It was dry for Superpole. So my first time riding the thing in anger was in qualifying, and I think the biggest thing was my crew were talking to Rossi's crew on Saturday night before the race, and they were just banter between mechanics, and apparently legit that they thought that they'd be riding around my area, and I was thinking, how cool is that? Valentino Rossi, greatest of all time, is thinking that he's going to ride around with me, and at that kind of pace. Yeah. And so I ticked the box. I went there and I rode for the best team in GP history, and didn't disgrace myself. 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
And my biggest phobia was, back then there was CRT bikes, and my biggest phobia was getting beat by them, who were competitive at the time. I remember Aprilia did a very good one. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed nothing materialised, but it didn't. But that gave me the balls to leave Honda. It was clear that I was too valuable in Superbike for them to want to try and support me to go there. And I knew that if I was going to, and their Superbike program was, it's not like right now, it was zero. So it was all ran by the 10K family in Holland, and they'd done an awesome job, overachieved with that bike for years. And but when I moved to Kawasaki and realised what a factory support was all about, I never looked back really.
Mate, you gelled with it, and there's something about you and the Kawasaki that you came along, and no offence to Tom Sykes, but you, from the outset, he was second string, he was playing catch up to you.
Well, I feel like Tom done awesome. He really developed that bike in the hard years. I mean, he was lucky to have an engineering company behind him that went away. You know, I could only dream of having that support at Honda. But they did, and they took the bike in a good way. But when I got there, I realized that it wasn't a bike really built for my style, but what I could do was adapt myself to ride more the way Tom requested the bike. And you know, my style from 14, 15, 16, there's a bit of an evolution there, and I changed some things. I was much better on the brakes and more of a stop and go style and carrying my big natural sweeping lines. But yeah, Tom pretty much helped me learn to ride that bike. So, and he was a competitive teammate, which is always nice to have a competitive teammate, because it never lets you to switch off and think it's fine. Because if you're having an average day, but you're beating your teammate, it's job done. But if you're having an average day and your teammate's 10 seconds up the road, you have to pull your socks off. So it was it was just the rivalry inside the garage that I needed.
Do you get on well with your teammates?
Yeah, Tom was tough because he was a competitive character, obviously, and he had come from the inertia of winning the World Championship when I arrived. And inside the garage it was tough because Tom developed the bike left and I developed the bike right. And the rivalry between the crew chiefs as well created an unhealthy rivalry, if you like.
That's, yeah, okay.
But I think when Leon came, it was great. Leon and I are friends. He's old enough to, and we've bashed fairings enough to know that we go out in the day and race hard, and you come in and 9 times out of 10 you can go for a beer, after the race and have a laugh about it. Alex is Alex reminds me of the situation that I came to Kawasaki, a guy that has been hotly tipped and he's got a lot of talent, maybe not had the whole package, but now he has. He's coming to Kawasaki with a great team around him, a great bike, so it's time for him to perform. So that, I can see another rivalry created there. But if you look up and down the pit lane for SBK this year, the inter-team rivalries are great. It's got all the ingredients of being a great year from the outset. But
I think it's more competitive this year than we've seen in quite some years.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great year to be part of it.
Yeah.
But also being part of it for so long, when you stand back, there's this hype created every year. There's always a reason for optimism. Everyone stakes their claim at the start of a year, so it's you need 4 or 5 races to understand exactly where you are, where everybody else is, and then ride the championship from there.